Right. Welcome back to What She Said Sports. I didn't schedule this one, so we'll just give it a minute for people to join us. Hmm. Charlotte, welcome back. Welcome back. Let me know if you can hear me. To read this article. Okay, thank you, thank you. So we're just giving people a chance to join us. Hey Jerry, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. Welcome back. Hey Anel Williams, how are you? Good, I'm good, I'm good. How's everybody doing? Right, right. So let's just get going and everybody else can catch up. So we know what happened earlier today, right, regarding Shedeur Sanders getting a speeding ticket. That's essentially what it is. On the surface, he got a speeding ticket. Um, did share the link to the body cam footage in the members only section, but I also did share it under the last video, the last live stream. I shared it there as well, right? So, I mean, it really wasn't much to it. You could hear Shedeur, the fact that the cop was talking to Shedeur. Apparently, Shedeur was in one car traveling at an excessive high rate of speed at 101 miles per hour. And then there was a female driving behind him in a different car, or at about 90 miles an hour. And they were on an open highway at about 12:20 a.m. It was after midnight, right? And on the surface, two young people speeding, right? A man and woman probably headed to the same destination or coming from the same destination, and they're speeding. That's what it looks like on the surface, right? And the Cleveland Browns decided not to comment, which is good because I'm sure a lot of people get traffic tickets. If there's something else they want to do, they'll handle it internally. But on the surface, he was speeding, driving too fast, and got a ticket. Now, a lot of different people gonna look at this in a different way, right? I see something just slightly different. Um, I see a young man whose nickname is Grown, who has never been in any trouble at all. We don't even know about his speeding tickets, right? This could be his first one. This could be his 10th one. We don't really know about it. But what we do know is a young man with no character issues just went through a very traumatic experience of being publicly humiliated and lied on, and he's the best to ever do it. But they assassinated his character, right? And then he gets to this new place, which is Cleveland, and he's obviously in a hostile environment because what did we realize? That he wasn't comfortable enough to be himself. But then time went on, and we started to see some of the characters that could likely be the reason he's uncomfortable. We saw the Mary Catherine lady. We knew how condescending Cleveland was by the GM when he first got there, and how Kevin Stefanski said things like, "Yeah, a lot comes with it when your father's a Hall of Famer." And then we watched people begin to clean this up, and we still just saw Mary Catherine essentially harass Shedeur to the point where they assigned her somewhere else and sent Daniel Oyefuse to start covering the news. And then Shedeur did this, right? And we see players gravitating towards him. And one in particular who's a veteran is Njoku. And I remember I was talking about seeing Njoku in a photo with his hand on Shedeur's shoulder. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder if he picked up on something and wanted to make him comfortable. Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead on and say, yeah. See, I don't see just a young man with a speeding ticket. I see risky behavior from somebody who's otherwise mature, who we just know was in an experience where he would sleep with the lights on, where he wasn't comfortable. He spoke about the dreams he was having. His brother jokingly talked about how, hey man, you calling me when I have meetings. It's like, oh, that means he wants to talk. He's not comfortable. He wasn't comfortable. He's been through it, right? Unjustly so, right? His dad refers to it as foolishness. And maybe that's code word for what he really don't want to say. Racism, discrimination, a toxic work environment, period, right? And when you're dealing with all of that and you're new to it, you're so young, and you already have, you know, if nobody sat down and told you this is what's going to happen and this is what you should do to cope, risky behavior is a sign that there's something wrong and I don't know how to deal with it. And young people under the age of 25 who already have a underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, or known as the frontal lobe, on a good day is impulsive and makes bad decisions. Why do you think the desired target demographic is 18 to 25 years old? Because they make impulse decisions. They spend money they shouldn't. They do things they shouldn't. They wreck their cars, which is why the insurance is so high to begin with, right? So they targeting these young people, right? So you have somebody who's young, a group of a distinct group of people who are still dealing with brain functioning development and psychological development, and then put them in a stressful work environment when I ain't even never had a damn job, right? And I'm in this stressful work environment. These people don't want me here. They don't like me. I was just beat up on over here. I'm living my life to the fullest. I do everything that they say a black man should do. I walk the straight and narrow. I don't have baby mamas everywhere. I'm not in the club partying. I don't sell drugs. I don't do drugs. I did it the right way. And they beat up on me as if I was the bad guy. But then what do they do with peak substance guy? And then today, all I have seen is what? Should Henry Ruggs get another chance in the NFL? I'm like, did Ray Rice get another chance in the NFL? Did Ray Caruth get another chance in the NFL? That's all people want to talk about, right? And I so instantly do what? I look to see, let's see what position he played. He not quarterback. And I told you they treat quarterbacks differently than they treat everybody else that they consider a body, especially if you black, right? So these are not just two young people out here driving fast. This is a young man that has been mature his whole life, going through a very stressful situation that he thought was over until what? Yesterday and today. What did you hear? He's slow. He can't pick up the plays. What does that lead to? The same race norming that the NFL has been guilty of the entire time. And yes, there are fans coming back and calling out the media, right? But at the same time, he still has to hear this. And imagine I get to a point where it's tough for me, it's hard for me, I'm not comfortable, people are rallying around me. And then things change and they push this lady out the way who harassing me. And people who were saying mean things about me are now being nice and saying I'm this and my dad is that. And I think I'm good. Good enough to do this. Good enough to go to a camp around a bunch of kids, something I enjoy, have them love on me and teach them this and celebrate with them. And then what happens after the next day? Oh, he can't pick up the playbook. Oh, he's further behind. They didn't go with that whole cognitive functioning bull crap over again. That was the end of it. Risky behavior in young people is trying to cope with the stress in your life. His father calls it foolishness. Maybe they behind closed doors, they call it what it is, racism. But I know somebody from that side of the family need to do something. Because if the viewers can say out loud that it was collusion, then the Sanders ought to be able to say the same thing. And if Coach Prime can't say it, then Miss Pilar needs to be the one that's allowed to get up and say it. Because see, people are only picking on him. Why? Because they think they can get away with it. They know Coach Prime not gonna say nothing, so that's where his mom comes in at. And people are gonna be like, "No, he old enough to fight his own battles." I know you see him struggling. And one thing about it, I saw Coach Prime on a show today, with Kaden, like he normally sits down and do as a coach, right? Looking out for other people's kids. You better look out for your own. Because while yours is might be out here drowning, you can't save everybody else's and let yours drown. That's what needs to be said. It's okay to be Coach Prime, but you got to be dad. Because this right here, driving 100 miles an hour, why wasn't she driving 100 miles an hour? Because she knew he's driving too fast. Now, what if she got hurt? He will be responsible, right? So we talking about a young person that does not act this way. That's called acting out. That's called trying to cope, risky behavior. But every time we've seen Shedeur, somebody's driving him, right? And let's understand this. And if y'all are like, well, he was out with a young lady and he was flexing, they would have been in the same car if he was flexing. Does he even really know her? Where'd she come from? Did she come to town and rent a car and he get in his truck? No, he could have just picked up from anywhere. So maybe the traffic ticket was a reminder, hey, you being reckless, because maybe he was about to be reckless some other kind of way. I remember Steve McNair got a traffic ticket right before he died. And I remember thinking when he got pulled over in that Escalade that he bought for that girl, that was a sign. Slow down. Because being reckless in one way, you likely being reckless in another. And these are things that they can't come back from if something happens. And you don't even know how he gonna internalize this. He might think, and who knows what's gonna really happen. They might no comment right now, but they could use it to harass him. They could use it to get rid of him, and then he gonna blame himself, and then it's gonna start. Right? See, this is something you shouldn't ignore. Right? Why? How did Karen Lacey pass away? What did it start with? Reckless driving. It ended with him taking his own life after what? A high speed chase. They talking about Henry Ruggs. What was he doing? Reckless driving. It ended up killing two people, and he's staring at 20 years. So I think it's very interesting, and it could be grace for Shedeur that there are people who are willing to give Henry Ruggs a second chance, and maybe that's to tell the Cleveland Browns, don't use this against Shedeur. Just keep it pushing. And maybe this is for Coach Prime or Miss Pilar to sit down and talk about how to hold the NFL and the Cleveland Browns accountable for the hostile work environment that their son is in. Because why did it start again? Understand, the media that is allowed access to the Cleveland Browns should be stripped away from any media that starts to defame him again. He should not have to endure this. Cleveland can do something about it. They don't have to get access to the Cleveland Browns. They protect the other quarterbacks. Why you don't protect him? Because you were the one beating up on him, so they think it's okay. See, that's why you don't bully people, because then other people get the memo and say, I can do it too. Remember the whole prank? How did they know Shedeur wasn't getting drafted? Because they heard these adults in the room, these executives talking about him, likely berating him and making fun of what they were going to do with him. So they thought it was okay to join in, just like the media in Cleveland, because how does Cleveland treat Shedeur? This is on the Cleveland Browns. This is on the NFL. This young man is out here trying to cope with something he shouldn't even have to deal with. Discrimination. It's not foolishness, it's racism. Call it what it is. And hold these people accountable, because that's why they still picking on him. You see, they ain't picking on Quinn Ewers no more. So yeah, we all have done it at the same age. So I don't think that they should make the big deal out of it. But look who we talking about. Look who we talking about. We talking about grown. And look at the context and the time frame that we're talking about and what he's going through and what y'all heard him say and how uncomfortable you saw him and how they ready for round two again. Cleveland ain't slick. If you let the media in and have access to these players and they out here defaming these players, that's on you too for being negligent and not protecting your players from the media. You don't have to allow them access to these players like that. There should be consequences from all these media members that fans are calling out. And now the media is upset with Shedeur Sanders fans. You mean fans? NFL football fans are divided. That's on the NFL. They started this. Cleveland think that they can continue it. Then now the media thinks that they can aid, abet it, and perpetuate it. This is not anything to ignore. He was going 10 miles faster than her. She knew he was going too fast. That's risky behavior from somebody who generally does not exhibit risky behavior. And given the context of the situation, it is very concerning. And Coach Prime, can't save everybody else's kids and let kids drown. People talking about Shedeur got to think about who he is. When he get to 25, he might think about it. And I agree. But this ain't no normal situation. You can't sit up here and look at what he went through in the draft and be bothered by it, see Coach Prime negatively affected health wise, and think that he's okay. I said that earlier. How y'all think that Coach Prime is the one that's health is negatively affected, but you don't think Shedeur's is? Yeah, it is. He said, I can deal with this. I'm a man. No, you can't. No, no, you can't. And this is a prime example that you struggling because you was being risky behind the wheel, and you probably going to be risky some other kind of way. That traffic stop was grace. Hey, hey, slow down, and not just behind the wheel. Y'all trying to figure out who it was? Figured if it was a girlfriend, they'd be in the same car. It don't even matter. Point is, that's not typical of what you see from him. And he has female friends. You ain't heard nothing like this before. This young man is in a situation where he sees poor behavior rewarded. Pink substance. Should Henry Ruggs come back to the NFL? Well, if Michael Vick did, yeah, he should. Notice they all have something in common. Maybe they'll like him if he got a smudge on his record because they seem to like poor behavior. They didn't like him. He was good behavior. Why should I keep being good? Why should I keep being a good guy and walking the straight and narrow? Didn't he say he was growing in his faith? Well, he probably finna start struggling with it. Why should I keep being a good guy and they don't like me? I did everything I was supposed to. They didn't like me. Maybe they'll like him now. Maybe they'll look at him with some respect. Maybe they'll look at him like what they look at everybody else. Oh, this is just what black people do. They have lower cognitive functioning. Maybe they'll accept him now because they clearly rejected him. For what? He did everything you tell young black men to do. And for people that's going, oh, this or that and the other, when you dealing with young people under the age of 25, even the criminal justice system knows. Poor decision making happens. The problem is young people don't always think they can bounce back from poor decision making and take their own lives or continue to do worse because they internalize it as the end of the world. You have to have not just a father, because Kyron Lacey has a father, and it's not just boys, they happen to girls. Put a boy and a girl together with two risky behaviors and see what happens. That's a kid. I just told you, Kylan Russell, twin sister, just took her own life. And then we ask as adults, what could be so wrong that you would end it all? Because they don't see the future. They just see right now. The way things are right now is the way they're going to always be. I have ruined my entire life. And adults are like, no, that's not the case. And they have two-parent families. They have intact families. They have fathers. When you see behavior from somebody who's typically mature after they've been going through a highly stressful situation that they cannot manage on their own, they can't start it, they can't stop it, they have to make the hard decision to get up and walk away from it with a brain that is not fully developed. You have to look at it different. You have to know something's not right. I said it a week ago. I need to be up there with him. See, this ain't a I told you so. This a hey, you better take this as a sign that somebody need to be down there with him. And he ain't handling it like he thought he could. This is risky behavior after a stressful situation. And it could get worse. Because now he might internalize, he might think he ruined his life. He might not feel comfortable going to practice. Or he might go and then don't be himself and then not do well. The point is this could continue to manifest until somebody takes it seriously. Nobody on that side has held the NFL accountable. Nobody. Not even to the point of saying collusion out loud. And that's why they keep going in because they don't fear any consequence from anybody in their family. This ain't about him just needing a driver. This is him, somebody that has typically has a driver and didn't chose to go without one. Yeah, we all have done it at that age. We have, but all of us haven't been in a hostile work environment at his age in front of the public. None of us have been publicly humiliated in front of $7.3 million people, 7.3 million people. None of us have been in a situation to where we were sacked mercilessly. What 50, 80 some odd times. None of us have been publicly humiliated in public. None of us have worked so hard to get to the top of our game and rejected by the people that we want to work with. Then when we get in there, they don't want to be there. This is a lot. And for people to brush it off, and I said this a few weeks ago, just because he's handling it well doesn't mean it's okay. And now you see the first, what they call it, a stress fracture. That's what that is. From somebody whose nickname is grown, who you don't see move like that, who typically does have a driver, who's out with somebody y'all may or may not know. That's also considered risky behavior for Shedeur Sanders. Is this way of reaching for help? It could be. It's definitely a wake up call. It's definitely a wake up call because this is considered risky behavior for Shedeur Sanders, not just because he's a young man, just because Shedeur Sanders' nickname is grown. Like I heard somebody say, the guy with no character issues now have character issues. You know what that means, right? They know he was somebody, he didn't have no issues. Now I got an issue. Maybe they'll like me now. They seem to like people with issues. Maybe they'll like me now. Cleveland is a depressing city. Get away. He should have went home. He should have gone home. He should have went home for a little while. But he might think, let me just stay up here and plug in. He can't do nothing else. You already the best one they have. He has to understand if they don't want you, they don't want you. That's it. You gotta come to that understanding. They could keep playing in your face. Or you can stay there till God open the door, but be okay with it if He close it. You know, this is not something that you ignore, right? This is not something that you ignore. Shador has to know he's not just in it. Maybe he does think he's any Tom, Dick, and Harry, because that's damn sure what the NFL been trying to tell him. Who else got the message? That's what they've been trying to tell him. You ain't nobody. That's exactly what they're trying to tell him. You ain't nobody. So why should you value yourself? That's the message. He ain't nobody. And then they make him feel like he ain't nobody. I don't know why y'all think it's okay for Coach Prime to suffer, but for Shador not to have no side effects. And it's not foolishness, it's racist. Call it what it is. Maybe if you call it what it is, you'll deal with it accordingly. Because it ain't gonna just go away. See, that's one thing about racism. It just get worse. Your environment gets more and more toxic. More and more people join in. That's nothing a young person should be left to manage by themselves. His family needs to be around him. Yeah, knows anywhere. Book exactly. Why the hell do you need to know? Why do you need to know who's around him? He don't need to be up there by himself. Not in that toxic environment. If he can't sleep with the damn lights on, hell, I'm gonna go get somebody to sleep with me too. He already told you he can't sleep. He sleep with the lights on, so maybe having company will help me. Maybe being out in the middle of the night is good for me. I don't know. But the point is, something is not right. And this citation, he got a good cop. He got the right one. I mean, truly the right one. He got a good one. He could have got somebody that exploited the situation. And since the NFL is fascinated, which should Henry Ruggs come back, this will probably blow. But he's gonna have to ask himself, look, if you want to do this, because Russell Wilson went to him for a reason. If you want to do this, you're gonna have to understand this ain't foolishness. This is racism. You can't defeat it by yourself. And if you want to stay in this environment, you're gonna have to understand it's gonna come with some toxicity, and you're gonna have to not buy into nothing that's happening, and you're gonna have to keep your head on a swivel and trust nobody. And honestly, that ain't even a good environment to be in. It's not a good environment to be in. The way Coach Prime coached is not going to work for Shedeur. So I told y'all when we last spoke, fine. I wasn't. I wasn't. So I had to go for a walk. And for 8 minutes and 42 seconds, I recorded my thoughts. And I'm glad I did because I felt better. Shedeur needs to go to therapy while he's down there. He needs to learn how to process. He needs to learn how to cope. And honestly, nobody should have to learn how to cope with racism. But this the environment you in, this the one you choose to be in, this the one you feel like God put you in, then you're gonna have to speak to somebody about it. And you obviously can't trust everybody. Go to therapy once a week so you can have somebody to connect to. I think it should be somebody in his family, but therapy sometimes is better than that. Because maybe he don't want to tell his dad that this is saying what's happening. This is hard. Then again, he might not even realize that his behavior, which is risky, is stemming from the stress that he's dealing with. But I don't know how people can look at Coach Prime and believe that he's stressed and offer him prayers and not see that that's exactly what you see with Shedeur's risky behavior. The same thing. The side effects of the stress of the NFL draft and how Shedeur is being mismanaged by Cleveland right now. You don't think Shedeur know he the best one out there? Imagine you out there and other people finally see you the best one, but they still want to make you the fourth string. That's not easy. You don't even understand it. And it might be hard to accept the fact that my father made it in this league. I can't because they want to be racist against me. How did he deal with it and I can't? Y'all ain't dealing with the same thing. I'm gonna tell you that now. He wasn't a quarterback. He needs to go to therapy. I hope he talks to Russell Wilson. I hope he doesn't internalize this. I hope he realizes that traffic stopped telling him to slow down. This truck go faster than you think, young man. Hope he understands because his spirituality is growing. That's a sign that in your life overall, you might be being too risky and you need to like chill out, slow down. I remember in year one was CU. We all felt like we knew how Coach Prime should have handled him being stabbed in the back, right? And I was one person that said, well, I know the business side of it. He signed these contracts with these guys. He the one they hired. He hired them. He can't just dismiss them because see, you got to pay him. So he got to back out of this carefully, right? And to some extent, it was true, right? That was the true part, the business side of it. But then there's the accountability side of it. That's the part that I think a lot of people felt like Coach Prime should have been different about people stabbing you in the back under your nose, right? And then there's the O line, watching his son be sacked over and over and over in year one. And then it happening again in year two and saying what? We just couldn't protect it. And then after the draft, what happened to the draft? Yes, people use Coach Prime as a scapegoat, but there were people who felt like Shedeur should have been better prepared because Coach Prime has been in the NFL. But I say Coach Prime wasn't the quarterback, and this is clearly about quarterbacks. So while there may have been some issues, he clearly wasn't prepared for anything of this magnitude. That this was bigger than what he probably has possibly seen, right? And what did I say about all the quarterbacks that I name all the time that have endured. Notice they never sued. Does that mean there was no racism or discrimination? No. Why haven't they collectively got together and sued for $10 million? I don't know. Just like I don't know why it is they haven't started their own league. Just like I don't know why Coach Prime, after what happened with Shedeur in the draft and some of the buffs in Shiloh, he ain't started his own league. I remember this one pastor after the draft saying faith without works is dead. And see, sometimes people post things and they don't put people's names on it or they don't tie it to a specific situation. But then I can read it and share it with y'all and we can tie it right to something, right? And then I told y'all that this older black guy has a podcast and he was talking about reasons why Shedeur should not blame Coach Prime for it. And I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And then here we are today. What do y'all think about it? Where Coach Prime is concerned, do you think he's done enough? Do you think he's done all he could do as a father? Do you think he should have done more to protect Shedeur from the sacks? Do you think he should do more to prepare Shedeur for the draft? Do you think he should do more in recognizing that there's stress that Shedeur, this risky behavior is a sign, a symptom of something else? What do y'all think? I think she's his girlfriend. I've seen her in Colorado with him. But why would they be in two different cars at midnight? Valid question. Just let me know your thoughts. I think you were right. He needs a family member with him. Yeah, he needs somebody with him. Not his trainer, not Boog. Shedeur needs Bucky or his mom. Uh, I think Coach Prime is too close to the situation and may possibly have too much on his shoulders. But again, you can't be out here trying to save everybody else's kids and maintain your relationship with the very people that stabbed you in the back so they can have somewhere to go and watch yours drive. See, you can't do that. And see, the NFL has proven what they are capable of. And they know he got that program for the next 5 years. Or does he? And that he gonna try to do everything he can to make sure that they don't fall. But he can't let Shedeur fall. His message today about letting your problems disrupt your peace, that ain't enough. It ain't enough. This requires hands on. This requires stop everything, hop on the PJ, and be there. And if you can't do it, then send his mama. Because right now, people just saying, oh, it's a speeding ticket. Yep, right now. That's the risky behavior. That's a speeding ticket. Maybe this is what I got to do to get you to notice me because y'all act like you don't see me. It was grace, just a speeding ticket. He now knows. Slow everything down. I hope so, Cameron. I really do. I hope that that's the end of it. She can't text and drive. She was following him. Huh? What? She can't text and drive. She was following him. What you mean by that, Tina? It said racism displays itself differently when when Coach Prime, it's soft and quietly done. Young people don't know it until it's in the rearview mirror. I totally agree with that. It manifests itself differently. Older folks recognize the behavior sooner, right? Why? Because you likely have seen it. That's what I mean by young people can't see, where older people are when you can turn back and look. We can look and see it like this because we've seen so much of it. We know what it looks like as it's happening. And I even asked the question last week, how much Shedeur has ever experienced any racism because of the way he grew up, right? In my opinion, somewhat sheltered. That's how I look at it. Went to a private school, your dad was around, you know. You see the NFL trying to separate him from his dad emotionally, trying to make him blame his dad. That's why when that guy said that in the podcast, I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? You can't minimize this. It can only take one little mistake, and that's in control of the car, and that's it, 100 miles an hour. And I noticed she wasn't going exactly 100 miles an hour because she know that's too fast, right? See, young men and women, you know, have different coping skills, right? And one way a young man tends to cope is with the companionship of a woman. And sometimes women do the same thing with men, and then something happens, and then we don't wish that happened, right? And I feel like we didn't heard enough from this young man sleeping with the lights on. Some of y'all know the dreams he told. We all saw the draft, before the draft, how he was saying, please don't listen to them. They trying to devalue me. He knew it. He knew it. I know he's probably gone back in his head a couple of times and thought about what Roger Goodell said about his dad. So I know he dealing with something. I just don't think he dealing with racism. And if he don't know how to deal with racism, he could end up like Vince. See, the NFL knows the psychological development of 18 to 25-year-olds because don't they have a rule you can't come out of college until a certain age or a certain classification? Like Travis graduated, but he was still a junior. So you could be a junior. What is that? 19? No, 20. Well, 21. It could be like 21, right? 20, maybe about 20, right? And I told you that the marketing world, corporations, companies, retailers love the 18 to 25 group. Who remembers being in college and they try to give you a credit card? Why? You ain't got no damn money because they know you're going to run it up, right? Now, what do? In college? Instead of just dorms, they got all these apartments popping up everywhere. They giving these kids leases. What you think they're going to do? Move out and not pay and don't understand the implications of that. And when they want to move out, they got to find somebody else to lease it or they on the hook for it. See, they signing these kids up for all these adult things, but their brains have not fully developed yet. They're taking advantage of them. They're preying on not knowing how life works. You think the NFL don't know that they're dealing with somebody like Shedeur, who's a good person, who clearly is not from the streets, not from the hoods, probably has never dealt with racism, don't know what the hell he's dealing with. And they clearly have gotten Coach Prime to buy into this is on you. Well, why didn't Coach Prime have any effect on Travis? Because it ain't about Coach Prime. So first, Coach Prime got to stop saying this is about me. Then Coach Prime got to stop saying foolishness. This is racism. And even the Quentin Ewers family could say it's collusion. It's not foolishness. When you say foolishness, you undermine the seriousness of what this young man is dealing with. Foolishness can just come and go. Racism is persistent. If it's in that environment, it's going to be in that environment. And they had a fit when he said he wanted to change the culture. They didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. They don't even know him. And now they somewhere trying to figure out if they need to use this against him or hang it over his head. And meanwhile, he looking at peak substance get a pass. He looking at all these people with these problems get a pass. He hearing the conversation about Henry Ruggs. Now, what if it don't work for him? What if they use him to kick him to the curb and he thinks he's ruined his career? When really he hasn't. But young people can't see that far. You see, this could just get worse and worse and worse. You hope this the end of it. But I do remember distinctly Steve McNair getting pulled over and that Escalade that he bought that young woman right before he died. And I remember exactly what I thought. That was his warning. This is Shedeur's warning. This Coach Prime's warning. This Miss Pilar's warning. We always say after the fact, what? You never know what people going through. Well, now you see it, so do something about it before it's too late. Kyron Lacey made a horrible mistake, and I'm sure there were people in his life telling him, "You made a mistake. You'll get past it." He couldn't see it, and it got worse for him. I don't think it's a coincidence that Kyron Lacey comes to mind when we talking about Shedeur and Henry Ruggs at the same exact time. I don't think that's a coincidence. All three involve excessive speed, reckless driving. Kyron Lacey didn't live long enough to figure out that this don't have to be the end of your life. People are asking, should Henry Ruggs get a second chance? And then there are going to be people trying to figure out what to do with Shedeur's situation. I think the answer is give him grace. Will the media do that? The same media that's perpetuated the problem that exists as it is, that's lying on him still, that's doing the same thing in the draft, going back in for another round. And I'm sure he recognizes that, which means it's unrelenting. That traffic citation was a warning for everybody that says they love that young man. That's what that is. Some adults like to impose their mature thinking on young people who are not fully mature in their decision making. Facts. He has too much to risk. Young people don't see it like that. He should have been at home knowing he had practice in the morning. Mhm. I thought, what practice did he have in the morning? They don't have practice. I don't think, do they? Where are they right now? I think they off. Aren't they off right now? I noticed Travis doing all of his ads while he's off. Milrose said he was doing a camp. So it seems like different people are in different places. I don't know what they still doing. I thought training camp was over until July. That is what they said. It said so he doesn't have to be there. Yeah, he needs to leave. He needs a break from that environment. He's not old enough to know that. He needs somebody who can see exactly what's happening to say, hey, you know what? Why don't you take a break and just go home? This is a lot. Somebody that can admit what he's going through is not normal. This is not something he's going to conquer himself. He can't do shit about it. You can't make people that like you and accept you that don't want you. I don't care how good you are. And you can. I mean, Russell Brooks is still here, so he can learn from him. So maybe that's who he needs to talk to. And somebody like Russ has to say, you know what? You got to go home. But I think he needs therapy. His dad need to find him somebody up there that he can go to therapy, pay, and the don't and Coach Prime need to pay for it. Coach Prime need to pay and set up a therapist for Shedeur to go to every single week, check-ins. How you doing? He needs somebody to talk to. If he have somebody to talk to, he gonna learn how to process in therapy. He gonna learn how to cope. He gonna learn healthy ways to cope, not risky behavior. He's gonna understand the implications of his riskiness. He's going to probably be brought back into focus. He's stressed. Anybody sleeping with the damn lights on is stressed at the age of 23 when you know they're going through something. So everybody see him going through something, but because he's carrying it well, nobody does anything. I mean, this your final warning. He will overcome. He's young. He will learn. That's what they said about Kyron Lacey, and he didn't make it. That's why y'all can't just go with the same cliches. That's why it's not a coincidence that he got a speeding ticket for reckless driving. 101 miles is reckless. And in a pickup truck, it's reckless. And what if something had happened to the young lady behind him going at 90 miles an hour? What you think her family gonna do? Right. You think he was thinking about all of that? No. He needs to talk to his pastor. He needs to talk to a therapist. Because if he don't have an intimate relationship with Christ, a pastor ain't gonna help him. You have to be a person that is already been on your spiritual journey. He even said he's growing in his spirituality. Hopefully, this gets him closer to God, but he needs to go to therapy. And I'm serious. He needs somebody to connect with every week. His mom needs to be up there. We know Coach Prime can't do it. His mom, she needs to be up there. Say her or Bucky. Bucky can't go. His mom. Stop everything. That's where you need to be in the same house. Sometimes you just gotta, press pause. You need to be in the same house so you can see how he moving. You can see how he really feeling. So you can see he's sleeping with the lights on. So you can see he trying to talk to Shiloh because he not comfortable. Everybody busy and got something else to do. They better slow the hell down. That's what they better do. If he does have a history of speeding, the media is on it. Now that's facts. You facts about that, Jerry, because I thought about that. I said, hell, they would be looking if they thought they could find it. Because you best believe somebody in Cleveland media talking to somebody in Colorado to figure out what they can find out. So you facts about that. What does vocabulary have to do with racist? What are you talking about, Jerry? This is his first time needing to directly work with the racist for his substance. I mean, he don't have to work with them. He could have went to Canada, to be honest. Told y'all Warren Moon made the right decision. They do this to all. They do this to him while calling him a fifth round pick. Right. They trying to break him. He needs to go home to Texas or Colorado. He for sure. And while he in Cleveland, he needs to get a therapist. One that he can see face to face, that he physically has to sit down, go to the office, make it part of his routine. He needs that. He needs self-care. He needs to know what self-care looks like. He needs to understand that what he is dealing with is not anything he can fix on his own. And the more he tries, he's going to break himself. They off until late July. Those are players led to the workouts. He can go back to Dallas if he wanted to. And he probably, because of how they berated him and saying he needs more time to do this and all of this bull jump, right? That's why. That's why he don't go back. That's why he's still there. And he does need to go home. But he needs therapy. I don't care where he get it at. That's he needs somebody that he can trust, an objective third party. And his mama need to be up there with him. She need to be to see him. Now, people have said this is why Jada Daniels' mom is like that. That is the opposite of extreme. On one side, when everybody busy on the left, smothering somebody is not an option on the right. There is balance in the middle. So no, that's not the answer. Smothering him is not the answer. But going up there for a couple of weeks to see what's going on with him, to be there every day to see how he's moving, that is needed. That's not smothering. That's checking in. 43 people watching. Yeah, hit the like button for me, please. They said, yeah, he needs therapy. Yeah, he needs to be in therapy. He don't understand what he's dealing with. And it seems like everybody in his life is too busy to slow down to basically be honest about what he's dealing with. That's I don't like that part. I don't like the part about, well, this is what it's like. No, it's not. This is racism. And you're not going to defeat racism. You don't believe me? Talk to Russell Wilson. He ain't defeated it yet. Sack 100 times. Y'all want to see Shedeur sack 100 times? Hell no. Everybody is not going to like you. Facts. And that's exactly how you have to deal with that. But understand this. See, just because people don't like you, don't mean they're not going to try to hurt you. See, the difference with what Shedeur is going through, they trying to hurt him. They trying to assassinate his character. They trying to tear him down. You think they doing it for fun? No. He thinks highly of himself. So they're unrelenting with trying to tear him down. And what did I say the first time when everybody did this and he did this? I said, oh, there it is. They getting to him. What did I say about Tiger Woods? They got to him. Do we want Shedeur to turn into Tiger Woods? No. Shedeur is dealing with racism, right? And as the longer he thinks he's dealing with, oh, they don't like my dad, he gonna knock himself out trying to get them to like him. And it ain't gonna work because that's not the problem. They lying. It don't have nothing to do with his dad. That's why he needs to learn his history. If I send anything to Shedeur, I'm sending him a list of names with his name smack dab in the middle. And I'm talking about the history of black quarterbacks because he needs to see what he's going through is a pattern of behavior of discriminatory practices set forth by the NFL and aided and abetted and perpetuated by the media. That's what he needs to know. This is not foolishness. This is serious. Yep, Jared, that's what he's dealing with. The loss of millions, yeah, that bothers him. You absolutely right. Yeah, and then they got him out here competing for first place, knowing they're not gonna never let him get it. All the while they robbed him. So you just playing in my face. See, that's enough to make people snap. See, this is not a good situation. And the longer this goes on and Cleveland keeps on, now we saw them move that lady out the way. We saw him get comfortable. But then we see the media do what? And then the Cleveland keeps inviting the same media in that's berated him and defaming him just like pre-draft. Then Cleveland is complicit. And if something happens to this young man, this your final warning. And I'm serious. The people that say they love him, they better put every damn thing down and go up there and spend time up there. Yes, he needs to know the racist history of the NFL. Right. So yeah, I take these guys all the time. I mean, I text him and let him know I did a story on him. Don't hear nothing. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I send them the link to the page. They could have sued by now. And I think the older guys owe it to the younger black quarterbacks to say, hey, hey, hey. Like Russell Wilson went to visit with Shedeur. That's who needs to reach out to Shedeur. Because if anybody knows, they're going to keep trying to break you. It's Russell Wilson because he said it. I heard him say it with his own two ears on, with my own two ears on Carmelo Anthony's podcast. Excellent interview. He said, "Oh, they can't break me. That's where Shedeur got to get." But what do we know about Russ? He has more than faith. He's a believer. The way he lives his life. He even talks about how sometimes Sierra want him to get up at 5 in the morning after he just came back from working out, and then he got to watch film, and she want him to go to Soul Cycle, and he don't be wanting to go. See, people talk about all the time. Oh, he do whatever she say. No, he. This is a man who's trying to be manage his time and be a father and yet be a husband. It is not easy with the kind of schedule that they have. He was like, it's 5 o'clock. I just came back from working out and I gotta watch film and I gotta get the kids. He was like, I don't want to go, but he went. See, you gotta be willing to do all of that when you get married in this game. And then Russell Wilson gotta deal with what? They paying Aaron Rodgers more than him. You know how he don't worry about it? God gave me what I want to have. That's the mentality you have to have. This what God want me to have for whatever reason. Maybe he thought I was gonna waste it all, so I ain't worried about it. Yeah, they wrong, but we not worried about it. God know they wrong. I'll let him deal with it. That's you think Shedeur know that? No. His risky behavior is not to be ignored, especially from somebody that this is not typically who he is. You don't have the nickname grown. If this is who he is, we would have heard about it before. Jackson State, Colorado. Oh, she would go to Canada. Yeah, he's too good. He's too good for the NFL. I said that before this happened. I said that at 12:30. He's too good for the NFL. Pilar and Bucky can get up there. Yeah, I think it's probably gonna be Miss Pilar. Dion needs to know what Shedeur and God. Shedeur said God was speaking to him, so a pastor can be helpful if he sees it that way. If he sees it that way, if he has that type of relationship, which it sounds like he does, then this should help his faith This should actually reel him in a little closer to God and make him aware that you're moving outside the bounds of God's will for you and you're going to get hurt. This was grace. So maybe a pastor, I just know we need to go there. I don't tell people to go find a pastor because you're talking about another human being that you may or may not know. Right. And then, I don't know if they know how to teach you how to cope. I don't know what they tell me. So that's why I don't recommend that. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. Can't tell you to call a pastor because I don't know what they're gonna tell you. But what I do know is that if he goes to therapy weekly in Cleveland, if he want to stay up there, he'll have a routine of having to go every week, which one is consistency, something to look forward to. Two, they gonna teach him how to cope. They gonna point out his behaviors as productive or risky and remind him of the consequences. And when he keeps coming back more and more and more, he's going to process and get that off his chest. And he's going to feel better and he's less likely to act out or feel the need to have somebody else around because maybe he's afraid to sleep with the lights on, but don't know why and don't know what's happening to me. And a therapist is going to say, well, it sounds like you're in a toxic environment. And that's what he needs to hear. And then that's when it starts to click. This ain't about my dad. He needs to know the history of Black NFL quarterbacks. And people need to stop saying this is just what it is. It is not. Yes, Tyrod Taylor is still around. Yes, Russell is still around. These are people he needs to draw strength from and find out how the hell have they done it. But look what they both have had to endure. Tyrod Taylor has had his lung punctured. So who knows what future health implications there are there. Russell Wilson has been sacked 100 times. Who knows what future health implications exist there? He shouldn't have to go through all of this. They didn't have to draft him. The NFL is wrong. It needs to be more held accountable. And I said earlier today, it's time for some divine intervention where the NFL is concerned. And who knows what that's going to look like. And sometimes it's painful. But this right here ought to be enough. They ought to be like, you know what, just leave him alone. But they not. Not if we're talking about 17 to 32. Because that's more important than their relationship with Coach Prime. He can do both. I agree with that. I agree with that. Thank you, Gracie. So, guys, it's one of those things where this your final warning. If they say they love him, they better drop everything. It's not just a speeding ticket. On the surface, it is. It's risky behavior. When you look at, he really did damage to his own reputation and what could have happened to the person following him and what that could end up as. Yeah, you gotta, hey, and it's just too close to what happened with Steve McNair. He may be more open with a pastor, but it takes a village, right? I mean, if the right, he can be open with people that he trusts. It can be a therapist, it can be a pastor. It don't matter. Say I can't recommend it because I don't know what they say. I know what a therapist is gonna tell him to do. He can go to both. His father knows a lot of pastors, right? So he can talk to one of them, but he might not want to. So he might have to find his own. But the point is, if somebody refers him to a therapist that he's comfortable with, he's going to open up. He's going to talk. Sometimes you can tell a therapist what you can't tell your father or your mother. He may be more open with his pastor, but it takes a village. It definitely takes a village. And I said that when we were here talking a couple of podcasts ago. And Jungle said it was him that said, don't worry about Shedeur, he's gonna be okay. And I remember saying, don't say that. And here we are. It takes a village. So, final warning, you know. So I don't know. I was even like, maybe we need to get some CU aunties out there in Cleveland, just drive by the pregnancy facility, drop off, just let people know he ain't up here by himself. They already know he got a fan base, but they think that that's virtual. They need to see it in Cleveland. They need to see, I might reach out to some CU aunties. Look, just go up there and drop a big ass teddy bear at the desk so they all can see. So they all can see. He got people up here. They need to see that. They need to know that this just not some virtual fan base, that people are just out here. And it's not just Shedeur Sanders fans. These are football fans that also want to see Shedeur Sanders do well. And the NFL needs to know that. I'm just ready for divine intervention to hold the NFL accountable. I put everything on that because that's what's needed. So, you know what, guys, we're going to conclude for tonight. That's where we are. I'm glad to get y'all's input about, what y'all feel about the situation. We all seem to be like minded in one way or another, saying that what he's going through is not normal. It's born out of racism. It's not new for the NFL. They do need to be held accountable. Coach Prime and the family need to come around this young man and need to drop everything and understand that this on the surface is speeding, but what this is risky behavior, which signals that uh, Shedeur is not able to manage any further the stress he's been dealing with. Risky behavior is a sign of stress in young people, and when you take a underdeveloped prefrontal cortex or the frontal lobe on a good day, that could be something to happen. But when you put something with it that you don't understand or you can't control, and people keep messing with you and trying to hurt you, and they done robbed you of this, and you and then been humiliated, and you trying to overcome all of this, and they starting it all over again when you thought that you had resolved it, it can make a person snap. And sometimes that's what they want, to break you. They should not be doing that. And somebody from his side need to show up and make sure they understand that. And if that's all we can do as fans, then that's what we need to do as fans. And yeah, see you aunties, if somebody in Cleveland, let's talk. Because you can go up there and leave a care basket, they can be like, that's from Shedeur Sanders, see you aunties right here on the ground in Cleveland. Let me know when y'all having your next event. That's what needs to happen. Because look at what happened when they realized he had a fan base. Hell, they didn't know he didn't have a fan base. Why were they surprised by it? Because they thought they was going to beat up on him in isolation. He's not isolated. He has a fan base, and they need to see it in Cleveland. So I'm gonna be reaching out to somebody so who I can find out what CU aunties, because I think they like one of my posts. I'm gonna see what CU auntie in their organization who's in Cleveland. They need to show up and drop off a package at the front with a card. We love you, Shedeur. And they need to all be like, hey, uh-huh. Let them know we right here. This ain't just no mythical fan base. We don't play about Shedeur. And they need to know that in Cleveland. So if y'all have any ideas of what to do, make sure y'all let me know. I wish Mike Tomlin could what? I wish Mike Tomlin could that coach jacket off and talk to me. What's that one in? They say he may be more. What's that one in? You wish Mike Tomlin would have what? Try to get some rest tonight and pray his support system will show up. Facts. And I do think we are part of his support system too. And I think we need to understand that as people that say we are his fans. When we don't see anybody else doing what needs to be done, we got to do it. Right? Right, y'all. So thank you for that, Charlotte. And yes, we're going to get some rest. I think he'll be, fine. I think, what's needed is people need to show up for him so Cleveland can back the hell off. So I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for watching what she said. This was very engaging, and thank y'all for sharing the commentary. I appreciate it. Yes, hit the like button on the way out for me, fam. Thank y'all so much. Okay, Freeman, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you too. Thank you. MS0767. Thank you for all that you are doing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the concern. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you for watching.
What She Said Sports, be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another
aunties
video.
in Cleveland. I'm looking for some CU aunties in Cleveland to see if we can show some love to Shedeur Sanders on the ground with a
Thank you
simple
for watching
idea.
What She Said
Let me
Sports.
know your
Be sure to
thoughts.
join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.